Hey, Thomas. How you doing?
Did you? I'm sorry. Did you actually say the blast off part?
Oh yeah, I
mic?
definitely hit record before I said blast off. I hope it picked it up.
Okay. So we do just like a typical to sync up our audio because we're recording. We both record locally. Jake just counts down on a 3, 2, 1, and usually after 1 doesn't say anything, and we both hit record. Decided that he really wanted to say something on mic.
It just
this
felt
time.
right. It felt like the thing I had to do. I was very excited about recording the episode. I got space on the mind,
anyway,
you know?
Yeah, no, you know.
That's man.
We are the we are the Mars generation, you know.
That's true. I saw that Buzz Aldrin thing. I think for Survivor 100, it should probably be in space.
I mean, that's the move, right? Like, that's the logical conclusion to all of this.
Yeah, enough with the South Pacific Islands and Caribbean Islands. Let's go to the fucking moon or Mars. By 100, it'll probably be... Well, it took, 15 years to do 30 seasons, so 70 seasons left, so another, 35 years? We'll be to Mars in 35 years.
Yeah. All I can think of now is Probst just standing unfazed with no spacesuit or helmet on in space. Just on the
Jeff
moon.
Probst does not need a spacesuit.
Well, I mean, you saw him when it was fucking raining on him at Tribal Council. Oh, wait, sorry. I mean, what? It's still a mystery whether I watched this or not.
Oh, okay. So this is a television show. This is an internet show called Did You Watch Survivor Last Night? Wherein I, Jake Scheidel, ask my best buddy, Thomas Powell, the man I'll travel to space with, if he watched Survivor last night. It's a fun question because for 15 years he didn't. So, Thomas, I've got a question for you.
Hit me.
Did you watch Survivor last night? Yes, and it was a good one, right?
It was, I mean, look. They are on fire right now.
True. Fire emoji.
The last 4 or 5 episodes, probably 4. Last 4 episodes have all been really good.
Well, you've also only watched 5 episodes this season.
Yeah.
So.
But I know what happened in the other ones, thanks to a very generous, loquacious friend of mine.
Oh, who's that?
Josh Brolin.
Oh, he's a nice guy. Haven't seen him in a while, but
I've been meaning to tell you, by the way, when you hit the intro and describe the premise of the podcast. I'm not your best friend anymore. Josh Brolin and I have gotten pretty tight.
That's fair. It's my own fault for moving away. And when Josh Brolin moved to Grand Rapids.
You know I love you, buddy, but he's famous, so...
I get that. Josh Brolin is a very famous person. He was great in Men in Black 3. Was he in that?
He actually was, and he was also great in it.
Of course.
I just I'm like, how many Oscar nominations do you have?
Zero. I have 0 Oscar nominations, yeah.
I actually couldn't tell you how many Oscar nominations Josh Brolin has. I was like, more than 1, probably.
At least more than 0.
Yeah, he was nominated for Milk. I know that right off the top of my head.
Oh yeah, he was in Milk. Yeah. Okay.
probably should have won. Sorry, Heath Ledger fans.
What was Heath Ledger in that year?
Dark Knight.
Oh, yeah. Milk definitely should have won an Oscar over The Dark Knight.
I mean, it was by far the best part of The Dark Knight. So.
Yeah.
I don't really begrudge them for giving it to Heath Ledger, but I still think Brolin was a little bit better.
Had he died before the ceremony?
Oh yeah,
okay.
It was awarded posthumously.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, he died before they released the movie.
Oh yeah. I guess you're right.
So anyway, Survivor.
So this is the 9th episode of Survivor Cambodia Second Chance. It's called Witch's Coven, which I anticipated a reference to American Horror Story Coven, the best season of American Horror Story, the only one that was even remotely decent, and even then it was not good. Apparently,
you're really damning that with faint praise.
It's it's a bad show. American Horror Story is it's a bad show. When they
if we did a podcast called "Did You Watch American Horror Story Last Night?" I would just say no, and then it would be over.
I would say also I did not watch it, and it would be over.
Well, do you want to talk about it? Nah, don't really have any desire to do that.
Weird that they cast Lady Gaga, and we would both just be like, "Yeah, that is weird." Every episode.
Like, sorry, I'm doing anything else right now.
No, Witch's Coven was actually a reference to Macbeth, apparently. Which is a play I apparently have never read or seen, I realized while watching this episode of Survivor.
Well, I mean, Steven kind of made it about Macbeth, because I guess Kimmy had been calling them that, and he was like, as Steven does, just kind of jumps right in on that.
Yeah, well, Steven's definitely a smart guy. He's probably read every Shakespeare play.
He's trying to be King Duncan right now.
King Duncan?
That's how you know that he, like, actually, yeah.
Who is King Duncan?
I have never actually read Macbeth, so I don't know.
Oh. I assumed you were talking about Tim Duncan, and I was like, I don't understand what you're talking about.
Trying to be Tim Duncan.
Tim Duncan.
I am trying to stay calm and unflappable under pressure and maybe shoot a bank shot from about 15 feet out.
My problem with Tim Duncan is that he never dunks, despite his last name. Just seems like bad.
As much as that is patently untrue, I would like it to be true. I would also like it to be some sort of moral thing for him.
Yeah.
Like it's against his religion.
Yeah.
It's also the only tenet of his religion is look like your mom dresses you and play not just that your mom dresses you, but your mom from like 1994 and play paintball a lot. 'Cause that's what that man likes to do is play paintball.
Yeah. I think he's probably a pretty nice guy.
Oh, uniformly, everybody says he's incredibly nice. He's just very mild-mannered and boring.
Yeah, but he's real good at basketball.
Yeah, he's probably the best player of his era. So, you know.
Yeah. He's no Kobe, though. Kobe.
Oh, we don't need to get into this. I need a whole nother podcast to start roasting some Kobe stands on that one.
Did you watch Kobe play on the awful Lakers last night?
No, I don't want to watch that. I don't want to watch that awful team.
As it turns out,
it's sad at this point. Honestly, we can't get into this. You're tempting me too much. We need to talk about Survivor.
Yes, as it turns out, I apparently haven't seen or read much of Shakespeare beyond like Romeo and Juliet. I know I've read.
I've read Romeo and Juliet, Hamlet, Merchant of Venice, The Tempest, which didn't really care for.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of what else I've read.
I know in high school, our high school did a Midsummer Night's Dream.
I've read that. 12th Night.
Yep.
You definitely read 12th Night.
Yeah. I'm looking at. First of all, Shakespeare's plays have their own Wikipedia page. There's so many of them. Like, you would think...
Wait, what? Like, they wouldn't have their own Wikipedia page?
You know when you, like, see a musical artist or a director or something, and it's like, oh, here's their discography, here's their filmography. Yeah. I was like, oh, it's probably just a list of plays he wrote. No, there's a whole separate page.
No, he's like, when a music artist has been going long enough, or they're prolific enough, or they're famous enough, they usually have their own separate page just for their discography.
I suppose so. Yeah,
like,
I think Prince has his own page.
Beatles discography. Yeah, it'll be like see also Beatles discography.
Yeah. So I realize we haven't talked at all about Survivor. I just want to mention
not even a little bit.
We mentioned the title of the show, which is all anyone needs to know.
This is a podcast about Survivor, and a lot of times not Survivor.
Most of the time, not Survivor. So his plays are broken up into three categories: comedies, histories, and tragedies. Everybody's heard of all the comedies and tragedies, and the histories, as a matter of fact. But let me just run through there's 10 history plays, whatever you want to call They are King John, Richard II, Henry IV, Part 1, Henry IV, Part 2, Henry V, Henry VI, Part 1, Henry VI, Part 2, Henry VI, Part 3, Richard III, and Henry VIII. Like, that's it. They're all just names of dudes and numbers.
Yeah, I mean, formula's working for you. Why not stick with it?
I suppose. So the Three Witches... Oh, the Witches' Coven is the title of the episode, and people are referring to the Three Witches as Kelly with an E, Sierra, and Abby, because they're girls, and there's three of them. I'm not really sure how it started. Yeah.
I mean, Abby's involved in that, so...
Yeah, if somebody was like, Abby is a witch, I would be like, yeah, that makes sense. But, like, Sierra and Kelly, they're seemingly pretty nice people.
Abby is too incompetent to be a witch.
Yeah, that's true. So the first... Let's just get into the episode. We've wasted enough time talking about Shakespeare. This ain't a high-brow podcast. Shakespeare can go fuck himself.
And also, we hate puns.
We hate puns.
It's not funny, Shakespeare.
Yeah. A collier. What is the first line of Romeo and Juliet that we made fun of all the time?
Oh, it's I'll not be made to carry coals from them, which, like, I still remember the footnote for that was, like, insults.
Yeah.
I'll not be made to carry coals from them. And then the response is, oh, but no, my good man, for then we should be colliers. Like, and apparently the audience, like, goes fucking ape shit at that back in his day, but it's like, yeah, no. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember our English teacher...
Collier's a guy that... Collier is what, like a coal merchant, I think?
I remember our English teacher, we got like 2 lines into the play, and our English teacher was like, okay, this is a joke. This is what jokes sounded like back then.
Yeah.
Okay.
They weren't quite into the level of... I compare that to, like, weird Twitter right now. That's not really the same thing.
I don't want to go on a Twitter
no, we don't.
Thing.
Okay, back.
Okay.
We need to get away from the Twitch subject.
Last episode, we did a really good job of sticking to the actual episode of Survivor. We didn't really go on any tangents.
We were efficient.
This one, we have gone
minutes.
at least 12 minutes and talked literally nothing about the show. So let's get into it.
Last episode, we didn't really have, like, a big tangent.
Yeah, that's why it was so short.
Nice, yeah, yep.
So we get back from the vote last week, and the first line of the episode, someone says, I think it was Kelly with an E. No, it wouldn't have been her. It would have been someone else. It doesn't matter. Somebody says, #hidden immunity idol. I've already said I don't want to get into a thing about how much I hate Twitter as an avid user, but ugh.
Anyone who says that should be immediately eliminated.
Jeff Probst just walks onto campus like, you're voted out. I'm voting you out right now.
I heard that shit you were talking. You have to leave. Get out of here. You are never coming back.
You know how Jeff Probst is always, like, in the know of what's happening when they get to tribal council? Do you think he's just kind of off camera the whole time, sitting in the dark, like, dressed as a crew member or something?
Away from everyone. Don't look at the producers are always like, don't look at Jeff. Don't look at him.
Just in case anything ever happens, like somebody says some dumb shit or somebody gets hurt.
Who the fuck do you think you are? Don't you dare make eye contact with Jeff.
No speaking to Jeff unless he speaks to you. Oh, okay.
That's why there's only one person who's guaranteed to get $1 million every season, and that's Jeff. So you fucking respect that man.
You think that's why Jeff always looks so upset at, like, tribal council or at a challenge when somebody, like, interrupts the conversation? Is like, I have something to say, and he just looks at him like, what? We're having our own conversation. You can't talk to me unless I talk to you. So Kelly with an E, being the nicest witch, apologizes to everyone for playing the hidden immunity idol without telling anyone that she had it, and everybody's like, no, it's cool, like, that was a really good move, I'm not even mad at you. So Kimmy mentions the witch's coven thing, and Jeremy sees himself as a threat, so he needs to find another idol, even though he already has one. See, once somebody plays an idol, they put another idol in camp or wherever the idols are, so that there's always 2 idols in play. So everybody goes looking for the idol because it's getting down to the wire, and you need an idol if you're going to survive. So everybody goes looking through the woods, or the jungle, I guess, and they're playing this really awesome, caper, Pink Panther type music that I really enjoyed. Did you notice that?
Yeah, no, that was some solid editing.
Yeah, they're really good at that.
Yeah, big ups to the production team.
Mm-hmm. And then Kelly with an E. So there's 11 people left. The Witch's Coven of Kelly with an E, Abby, and Sierra. And they're on the bottom, apparently. And then there's the solid 8. But Kelly recognizes that there's paranoia within the 8 because everybody within the 8 is also looking for an idol. So everybody knows that they're not, the top dog in that alliance. So she's gonna use that. And then we go to commercial, we get back from commercial, and immediately go into the reward challenge again, which is apparently a new thing that they're doing. Just getting straight into the challenge.
You missed the really important thing where Abby thwarted Joe's attempt to look for an immunity idol by telling him that she had to take a shit and that he needed to leave.
I didn't realize that's what had happened. Whenever Abby...
That's honestly the most I've liked her all day. I was like, yeah.
Whenever Abby is on screen, I kind of just zone out. Because I'm like, you're not going to say anything important. You're just going to be annoying. So, in my head, she had just, walked up to him and was like, I want to look for the idol now. You need to leave. That's a weird move, Abby, but okay. I guess it worked.
Oh, that would have been even better. But this was good.
Yeah, that's a pretty solid move. So they get to the reward challenge, and there's a storm in the reward challenge. There's a huge rainstorm during the challenge.
No, that wasn't during the reward challenge.
No,
that was
it
during
was.
The immunity.
It was during both, and during Tribal Council. It rained during every single major segment of this episode.
I would like to dispute the claim that it was during the reward challenge because it was not.
I wrote in all caps in my notes, storm during reward. The immunity challenge hadn't happened yet. Why would I write that if it wasn't happening?
It didn't start raining. It wasn't raining when they initially explained the immunity challenge, and then it was raining, when they actually started it.
The reward challenge. It was raining when they started the reward challenge.
It's not raining during the reward challenge. I will fucking fight you.
I promise you it was.
I will fight you.
Rewatch the episode. It was definitely raining.
Chicago, and I will fight you, Jake Scheidel.
When you come down to Chicago, though, I'm going to be in Grand Rapids, so...
Yeah, we're going to miss each other.
I know. It's awful.
It's like drive all the way to Temecula, am I right?
Yeah, that's in Arizona?
Twitter jokes.
Is that a thing on Twitter?
Oh, I'm not even going to get into it. I didn't already know what it was.
Twitter is off limits.
Yes.
So anyway, at the reward challenge in which it was or possibly was not raining, they have to build a staircase out of some poles of differentiating heights, climb up the stairs that they've created, run through a maze, grab a key, do a puzzle, and then once they figure out the puzzle, there's a combination. They have to enter the combination and pull out a spear, and then the spear lifts up a flag, and they won the reward.
Yeah, the puzzle is like assembling these things that creates 3 numbers.
Yeah,
and then you have to to get the right combination. For
it's not really a jigsaw puzzle like it has been in the past. It's just kind of planks with a third of a number on each one. So there's 9 planks, and they have to put them in the right order. It's as far as Survivor puzzles go, it's pretty straightforward.
Yeah. One of these teams had a little bit of trouble with this one.
Yes. So it's a 5-on-5 reward, but there are 11 people left. Now, Thomas, let's just pretend that you didn't watch the episode. There's 11 people left. You get 2 captains, say Tasha and Jeremy. I don't think they were the captains, but 2 people are captains. The 11th person doesn't get picked. Just based on whoever's left, who do you think isn't getting picked?
Probably like Fishbach, right?
Fishbach was picked.
Oh yeah, he was picked. Who didn't get picked?
Abby Maria, of course. It was Abby, yeah.
It was Abby, yeah.
Because she's not particularly smart, and she's not particularly strong. So, and those are the 2 things you need in a challenge. You can't win a challenge by annoying everyone.
If you don't get picked, you have no shot at the reward. Like, you just don't get it?
Generally, yes. But sometimes, especially, this happened last season or 2 seasons ago.
I think if you don't get picked, you should get the reward.
Well, here's the thing.
Because that's mean.
I completely agree with you. They should always aim to be very mean to people in this show, because that's what's entertaining. Either last season or 2 seasons ago, somebody had never been on a reward challenge throughout the entire season. So like 70, 80% of the way through the season, everybody started feeling bad for him, and it was his birthday. So like, I'm going to gift my reward to Rodney. I think it was last season. And then it just started this trend of everybody gifting their reward to whoever wanted it the most. It was like, oh, they're feeling really bad, so I'm going to give the reward to this person. Oh, they missed their daughter. I'm going to give it to this person. It's just like, you won, though. Like, a reward is more than just ribs. Like, it's a chance to do strategy. It's a chance to possibly find an idol or clue to an idol. Like, you got to take every advantage you can get in this game.
Yeah, like, look at Sierra in the last 2 rewards. Like, she is, like, dealing as soon as they start doing stuff.
Yeah, she's toil and trouble, or whatever Steven said about the Witches Coven thing. So,
we need to cover how inept the green team was. It was. I did not think. I literally was like, did they edit this to make them look worse? But they did not.
No, they were just really bad. Yeah,
fucking do it.
So this maze or this challenge was first done on Brains, Beauty, Brawn, which was Tasha and Spencer's season. They both lost. So as always, Chef Probst mentions another big second chance opportunity.
Like, not such a big second chance.
Yeah,
it's a second chance. Big is a stretch.
Yeah, it's I know I was just talking about how important reward challenges are, but it's not immunity. Like,
no, it is not.
That's a big second chance opportunity, especially if you're on the chopping block. It would be nice to win, but it's not necessary. So they split into 2 teams, the green team and the purple team. The purple team is Spencer, Tasha, Joe, Sierra, and Steven. And the green tribe is everyone else except Abby. Who would that be? Jeremy, Keith, Kimmy, and both Kellys. And for whatever reason, like, none of those people are bad at challenges, but for whatever reason, they just could not work together. I don't know what it was, but they were just bad. Like, there's nothing else to say about it. They were just really, really bad.
There was no communication at all.
Usually when a team does that bad, it's because they can't all get in the same rhythm, like rowing a boat. But they just had to place some poles in a hole and figure out which...
In order.
Yeah, I know, like, the holes were at different depths and the poles were different heights, so you had to figure that out. But, honestly, that's like a one-man job. If you just communicate, you could figure it out really easily. Like the purple team did. They got it, like, first try, and then ran through the maze and won with, like, a 30-minute advantage over the other team.
Yeah, it was. They might as well have been playing like yakety sax whenever they showed the green team. Like it was that. Like seriously, the only way this could have been more like a Harlem Globetrotters game is if like Joe had like dunked on Keith and then dumped a bucket of confetti on his head.
That would have been so great. And honestly, I think Keith would have really enjoyed that.
Yeah, he would have been into it. Keith would be like a very like amiable, like game fun Washington Generals basketball player.
Oh yeah.
Like he knows why he's there.
Yeah, absolutely, and he is enjoying the heck out of it. Yeah. So the challenge is like a long strip. I don't know, probably 100 yards or so. And by the time the purple team gets to the end and is like doing the puzzle and figuring out the combination, the purple tribe is still on the other end trying to figure out these poles, and Jeff Probst is like barely even looking at them. He has to like look back over his shoulder to see where they are, and is like, "Oh well, purple tribe or green tribe still doing shitty over there."
Yeah. He's like one of the worst showings.
Yeah, like one of the biggest blowouts in Survivor history, I think is what he said. I wrote down that it looked, when they were like running through the maze and everything, they looked like lemmings from that game Lemmings. Remember that game?
Yep, from the game Lemmings.
That was a great game. So they go back to camp. The losing team goes back to camp, and Jeremy is all upset. Pulls a real fish back, being upset he lost the reward. He goes, "This is bad. This whole day was a waste." Because he had gone looking for the idol, didn't find an idol, didn't win the challenge, so he's just feeling down in the dumps. But who cares? Now it's time to go over to the people who won the reward. Yay! They go to a spa, eat some food. There's a shot of Joe showering, which I thought you would enjoy.
Hot. It looked like it was a cold shower, so it wasn't steamy, but it was very definitely hot.
It was, well, yeah, it's Cambodia. It's got to be pretty warm.
Sorry, I just had no response to that. That's all that was.
I wanted to see how long that would take for you to say anything.
Good 5-10 seconds there.
Yeah, that was a long time. I considered editing it out, but now that we're talking about it, I can't.
Gotta leave it in.
Gotta leave it in. That's podcasting magic right there. So Sierra, ever the strategist, sitting around with all her winning buddies and is like, "I'm on the outs. So let's talk strategy." And in an interview, Steven says, very smart, Steven, mentions you have less votes later in the game, so he's willing to, shake things up a bit because he's good at this game. And he recognizes that Abby, Sierra, and Kelly are working harder to stick around, and he appreciates that because he appreciates the game of Survivor and knows how to play the game. So they're all talking about who could win, and they're like, if you go up against Jeremy, you're gonna lose in Final Tribal Council. If you're up against Jeremy to win, you're gonna lose, and if you're up against Wigglesworth, you're going to lose. She has the runner-up of the first season on her side, like that whole story. So, like, you're not gonna beat her, and Tasha's like, even though she's in an alliance with Wigglesworth, is like, yeah, that makes sense. So then we go back to the camp. I feel like I'm just kind of running through this. Did you have?
Yeah.
Okay. So we're back at the camp. Jeremy is looking for his idol again, and lo and behold, he finds something in the roots of a tree.
A clue.
Woohoo! And the clue says that there's a map on the clue, and it's like, after everybody goes to sleep tonight, follow this map, you'll find the idol. And he says, I had a bad day today, but things are looking up. So he's just like...
But no one will go to sleep!
Yeah, he's just waiting around. The winning team gets back from the reward challenge and is all happy. Their camaraderie is full.
To the point that Tribe Dad has to be like, hey, y'all, go to sleep, y'all. I got work. I'm working third shift.
He's got to wake up in the morning, drink his coffee, and go to work.
Some of us are trying to sleep, but work for a living over here.
I put bread on this table. Keith, we don't have a table. We have a...
Nah, Keith wouldn't be that mean.
Nah.
Keith would be as nice as he was, just like, are y'all going to stay up all night, huh? Like, that's really, I think, all he said.
So they're all sitting around the fire singing Kumbaya or whatever, and Jeremy's getting all upset. He's like, I need to find this idol, go to sleep. So he pretends he has to pee, and then just runs off and looks through the idol some more.
Yeah, I think he's like, the food's messing with me, I have to
he blames it on the food, which is the same food they've been eating the entire time they've been on the island, so...
Oh, this rice is really fucking with me.
I think the rice was undercooked. I have to pee? Okay, bye! So he finds his idol, and he's like, it took me 2 years, but I've got 2 idols. And then he mentions, he's like, I want to make my wife and my kids' lives better. He's got a wife who we played with on Blood vs. Water, and a kid, and then another kid on the way. Like, his wife is pregnant while he's on Survivor. So we've got Joe and Wigglesworth are apparently super close, and Fishback notices that and says, this is a great quote from Steven. Like, I don't always love Steven, but, like, I like how observant he is and how much he doesn't let anything slide in his interviews. He's like, talking about Joe and Wigglesworth, he's like, they have a shared...
Oh my god, this is great.
They have a shared arrogance about how great they are. Oh, man.
Yep, it's just like
way to
them,
call it,
like,
Steven.
just, like, smugly talking to each other.
Yes. So we're so good at Survivor. You almost won the first season. I was an attractive dude on my season. We're both great at this game.
We're just, like, killing it. I just feel like we're, like, killing it right now. I just feel like we're really, like, just really doing the damn thing.
Oh, my God. So, Steven, always playing the game, says that he wants to work with the Coven, and tosses out the idea of Wigglesworth, which they all jump at because it's none of them. I wanted to mention, with this Coven, this new Coven alliance, I kind of hate it.
Yeah.
Like, I really like Sierra, and I really like Kelly, and I'm glad they're working together. I wish they didn't have Abby with them.
Yeah, I just don't want Abby to be protected by anyone. I want her to be on her own.
Yeah. Now I have to...
Because she doesn't really do, like, anything to contribute to them.
She is a vote. She's the same thing that she was on the Angkor tribe, when they had that third tribe for 2 episodes. And, like, they're just using her as a vote. If they lose her, especially now in the game when a vote is so much more valuable, which we will get into more in a minute, like, they really need her, especially when they only have 3 people in their alliance. But God, I wish they could have gotten, like, Kimmy or Jeremy or somebody else.
Someone else.
Anyone.
Please.
Just anyone. The nice thing is she's not as big player or as big a character at this point in the season as she was in the early episodes, which is nice, but it still bothers me that I have to see her every week. But I also don't want her gone, because then Sierra and Kelly lose a vote, and I want them to stick around for a while. That's when we get to the immunity challenge. Yay!
Sorry, I yawned because Joe wins. Joe wins every time.
Joe wins at the end. That's the name of the show. When he walks up to the meeting place, I don't know what they call it, but where they all stand before the challenge starts, and he's got that big-ass immunity necklace on him.
Yep.
I gotta tell you, he He looked like a Disney prince. You're wrong about that.
Oh my god.
He absolutely...
Until there's a Disney prince with a fucking man bun, I will not redact that statement.
There has to be. There must have been somebody with long hair.
No.
There was no Disney... What about the Beast from Beauty and the Beast?
That's not a man bun.
He had a lot of hair.
No, yeah, but did he ever tie it into a bun? No, he didn't.
Probably not. He had pretty short hair when he turned back into a human, right?
Probably not long enough to do a man bun.
Okay, well, here's the thing. I just Googled Disney Prince man bun. The first result, you will be unsurprised by this, is a BuzzFeed listicle. It says, Disney princess with man buns are surprisingly sexy. Nope, nothing about that surprises me, BuzzFeed.
Yeah.
That sounds
maybe.
That sounds exactly like what you would write.
I think I win this round.
Okay, but that like royal-looking red and gold necklace.
Oh, he looked damn good, man. I'm not disputing that.
Oh, what about the dude from Mulan?
Wait, did he? That's not really that's different.
How is that different?
It's not it's not the same thing. Like, that's more of an actual cultural thing.
No, I found it. I found the Disney prince that is Tarzan. I mean, that is Joe. It's Tarzan.
Oh, yeah. Well, he's not a prince, though.
Okay.
Tarzan is not... If you see, like, a thing of Disney princes, you don't see fucking Tarzan sitting there in a goddamn loincloth.
But as far as animated Disney movies go, where there's a man and a woman who fall in love with each other, who are from two different worlds...
Real me Tarzan, you Jane situation.
Yeah. Joe is
if you will.
Tarzan.
I have noticed, though, that Joe is always, like, doing, like, he's, like, grinding on trees, and Phil Collins is always playing whenever he's doing stuff. So
he is flying through the jungle on vines a lot.
If the shoe fits. Yeah.
So Joe is Tarzan. That's what we've determined so far. So this challenge is pretty simple. They have to stand on a triangular platform in the water, and...
Which, like, obviously Joe is going to win that.
Yeah. Well, it's an immunity challenge. Oh, yeah, that's right.
Well, yeah, but also,
Wait. Joe doesn't do yoga. Joe does joga.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, with his joga background.
Yes.
Like, he was already predisposed to win this, even if he wasn't as dominant as he is. They still tease you with those edits, man, where it's like, oh,
yeah,
Joe's finally going down. Like, no, he's not.
I mean, we've talked several times about how good they are at editing this show. Like, I knew going in, but Joe would win because Joe wins every immunity challenge. And yeah, he has this background in yoga. But there were a lot of times I honestly thought Abby was going to win. Like, Abby had really good balance, too.
Yeah, she killed it. She just... You can't outlast Joe. It was like Keith with the balls last week.
We are getting...
They're absolutely destroying that challenge.
Wait.
Joe just still
Thomas,
wins.
we are jumping to the end of the challenge, and there is a lot that happens during this challenge that we need to talk about.
Well, I was going to say, like, it doesn't really matter. Like, it matters who won. Joe won. But there was something more important, honestly, that happened.
Well, we'll get to that. So we are in agreement that as the challenge starts, it starts raining, right? We both agree that it was raining during the immunity challenge.
Yes, it was absolutely raining during that challenge.
Fucking pouring.
Yep.
And I think Probst mentions that they did this challenge in Brain's Beauty Brawn again. So it's another second chance opportunity for Tasha and Spencer. I'm starting to think that they're just reusing every challenge from Brain's Beauty Brawn. It seems like every episode they're like, Tasha and Spencer did this one already. What?
Giving us another chance to use another challenge. It's our second chance to use this challenge from Beauty Brawn.
So they all get on their platforms or whatever, and Jeff is checking in with them, and Keith goes, I wish I had a 16-size foot. Probably would help a little bit.
then everyone was like, "Oh, Keith,
Keith, you're the best. You scamp. I love you, Keith."
The one thing I will say, by the way, with it raining in this challenge, I was kind of nervous. This seemed like a horrible liability. Like somebody could have gotten hurt.
It seemed really dangerous. Yeah.
If it's really slippery and someone falls and doesn't realize they're going to fall, like if they fall abruptly, like
I think it was probably
your head open on the thing they're standing on.
It looked like all the platforms were far enough away from each other that they wouldn't, like if you fell off, you wouldn't hit your head on the next person's, and they were small enough that if you fell straight forward, like the worst that would happen is like you scrape your knee or your shin or something. I don't think it was a huge issue, and I think they were also made of wood, it looked like, instead of like plastic or metal, so they couldn't have gotten terribly slippery. But I don't know how true any of that is. Maybe they were made of plastic, but that would kind of go against the whole Survivor aesthetic.
I think they were definitely wood.
Yeah.
But, nothing happened, so whatever.
Yeah. So this challenge goes on for a while. A few people fall off. Most people don't. And Jeff goes into his little... It's kind of just a summary of Survivor it starts with. Then he goes, this is a complicated game. And first he's like, hey, this is Survivor. You gotta survive. I don't remember exactly how the quote started. But he eventually says, this is a complicated game, and your success depends on making the right decision at the right time. I'm going to give you a chance to change your situation in this game right now, but it will require an instant decision. And he pulls out a knife, cuts this rope on his little buoy thing that he's standing on, and a bunch of buoys pop out of the water like 50 feet in front of each person. One buoy corresponding to each person. And he's like, first person to touch their buoy wins an advantage in the game. Spencer and Steven jump in immediately, dive into the water.
Oh, yeah, also, but you abandon your chance at immunity.
Well, yeah, I mean, that goes without saying.
Yeah.
So Spencer and Steven are, like, swimming as fast as either of these nerds can, and Steven touches his buoy a split second before Spencer, and they get back to the platform with Probst, and Probst is like, Steven, how soon into my little spiel did you decide you wanted to jump? And he was like, immediately. And he asked Spencer the same thing. He's like, split second, but not soon enough. Well, yeah, that's fair. It's an accurate...
Well, and like, honestly, I don't know why no one else did, because like, if I were in that situation, I would have been like, well, Joe's going to win, so I should at least get something out of this. Like, I'm sure Steven immediately was like, well, I never win these challenges, so I might as well go.
Yeah, because a lot of people are very confident in their ability to win a challenge. So they would rather have... Because you don't know what the advantage is. You don't know if it's an idol. You don't know if it's what it turns out it actually is. You don't know if it's like an advantage in the next challenge. So it's really a gamble. It worked out for Steven, but you don't know what it's going to be. So I don't blame anyone for trying to stick it out and win the challenge.
Yeah, I just think like you could have more self-awareness about that. There were multiple people in that challenge. I don't know.
Would you have jumped? Would you have gone in for the advantage?
In a fucking heartbeat, because I know I wasn't going to beat Joe at that challenge.
You say that from an outsider's perspective, though. Like, if you were in it, if you were standing there and you saw Joe, like, rocking and you felt pretty steady, I don't think it would be out of the realm of possibility that you could win.
This was at a point in the game where everybody was steady because nobody had to go up to the top yet. But
I suppose.
I would like to think that I would be self-aware enough and I'd be able to gauge how well I'd been doing in immunity challenges, and I would look and say, I just don't see how I'm going to beat Joe at this one.
Yeah.
Because who's going to like for somebody like Fishbach, it was a no-brainer because I don't know if he's ever going to win an immunity challenge.
Maybe if it's maybe if the immunity challenge is playing Survivor really well and being good at strategy.
He's good at other things.
Yeah.
He's not going to win the immunity challenges. So,
Yeah.
this was a good strategic move on his part.
Yeah, definitely.
So this is the type of move that he needs to make. And I think Spencer's pretty good at immunity challenges, but he was still just Spencer's crafty, and he saw it as an opportunity, and he just didn't quite do it fast enough.
Yeah. So, as the challenge continues, they have to move up on the platform, so it's harder to balance. And Jeff is like, "Okay, so right now we're moving to the next segment of the challenge. You can use your hands and your butt to go to the next part." I just thought that was really funny.
It was great.
And then Joe is trying to get on to the next part of the platform, and is not the smoothest when he does it. Of course, Jeff Probst says to Joe, the prettiest person who's ever played Survivor, it does not have to be pretty on Survivor, but he is pretty. You're lying, Jeff.
Don't be throwing shade, Jeff.
Yeah.
Not a man.
Jeff checks in with everybody again, and Abby mentions that her butt is cramping, which was funny. It's always funny when people mention butts.
Always.
So yeah, Joe wins. Good job, Joe. That's 3 in a row for Joe. And Kimmy is fine with Joe winning because she wants to break up the Coven and begins gunning for Wentworth specifically because she is building her resume with her hidden immunity idol play. Oh, did you know that did we mention this last week? When Kelly played her idol last week, she negated the most votes in the history of Survivor with the hidden immunity idol.
Wow.
Yeah, she negated 9 votes, and the previous record was 7. So that's pretty impressive. Although, also, she played it fairly early in the game, so
there were more available votes.
Exactly, yeah. So Steven gets his advantage, and when they get back to camp, he goes off solo into the jungle and reads his advantage. His advantage is incredible. Honestly, I think it can do more damage than a hidden immunity idol can. He gets to steal someone else's vote at a future tribal council, which is incredible.
No, that's really, really good.
I'm pretty sure this is the first time they've ever done this. Last season, they did something sort of similar where somebody was given an advantage again, and it was Dan who won the advantage. Dan is the guy last season who tried to relate his story of being adopted to Shirin's story of emotional abuse.
Yep.
Fucking dickhead all around. But his advantage was getting an extra vote at Tribal Council, and which is also a really great vote, especially if you're trying to split the vote, trying to flush out an idol. What he did was stupid. Let me just explain to you what he did. His alliance was trying to vote out this person, Carolyn. So they, I think there were 6 people left in the game. So they got 4 people to vote for Carolyn, and 2 people voted against Dan. And then before they go to vote, Dan's like, "Hey, I want to use my advantage." And Jeff is like, "Okay, the advantage is he gets an extra vote." So he goes in, throws in another vote for Carolyn. But guess what happened? Carolyn had a human immunity idol. So the advantage did nothing. So this time It's so good. I'm so excited for when he plays it. And he's like the perfect person to
absolutely,
get that.
because you know he's going to be scheming about it. Like, he's the perfect person to have this.
Yeah. So Steven doesn't mention this to anybody, but he goes up to Jeremy and Spencer, tries to get them to work with the Coven as well. And he mentions, this isn't a game of long-term alliances. This is a game of voting blocks. It's very important terminology. And then we go to Tribal. Before we get into Tribal, though, let's talk about the very few wildlife shots there were this week. I was very upset there were not very many wildlife shots.
I honestly cannot even recall one of them.
There was one of an adult monkey and one of a baby monkey. That was all of them.
This is lazy. I mean, I know we compliment the editing a lot, but step up your game, guys.
There's so many. Honestly, they can reuse a shot of a monkey. I'm not going to remember if you use the shot.
They don't all have to be unique shots. Just have some of them.
Yeah, have 10 minutes of monkeys playing in the jungle. Clip out 5 seconds for each commercial break.
You're good.
And throw in like one alligator shot or one shot of a herring or something. Just to keep it. They did a bad job this week with the wildlife shots.
Very disappointed.
Me too. But other than the wildlife shots, this was a great episode. Tribal Council. Let's get into it.
It is raining.
It's raining at Tribal Council too. I don't know if it's monsoon season. I don't know if that's a thing in Cambodia. But it was a thought that crossed my mind as I was watching. I was like, it's raining a lot. That's interesting.
Everyone is going to get pneumonia.
Yeah. Yeah, they talk a lot about how cold they are. And I was like, I thought it was warm in Southeast Asia. But I guess they get cold, too.
It's raining all the time and you have limited protection.
Yeah. Yeah, Kelly has taken off. She's like wearing a tank top and then has like a long sleeve shirt on. She's taken off her long sleeve shirt and kind of just wrapped it over her shoulders and is like trying to keep warm. It's like shivering the whole time. It's very sad to see. So Sierra still on her soapbox and is like, play or get played. That's a thing she says. And everyone's like, oh, okay, Sierra. And then Jeremy's talking, and he says, see, this is why the thing with Steven was important. He says, this is a game about voting blocks. So
Steven was like, at me, though. Like, come on, man.
So Jeff asks the people, the tribe, how confident they are with their placement. And Wigglesworth says, I'm pretty confident everyone will do what they say. And that's like what sealed the deal for me. It's like, anybody who ever says they're confident is getting voted out. That's just how it works.
She gone.
It's the Chekhov's gun of Survivor.
Yep.
If you say you're confident...
Can we please talk about what Savage was wearing when he showed up for the jury?
Yeah, he was like wearing a beanie. And
he looked like a fucking like 2005 teenager on a show. Like, he looked like if there was like a sitcom and they were doing it as a joke where it's like, oh, dressing up like my skater son.
Yeah. But that's kind of what I expect Savage to be like in real life.
Oh my god, it was... I saw him and was just like, what?
Yeah, I saw him walk in.
It literally looked like... You know the episode of 30 Rock where Steve Buscemi is in it?
Yes.
And it shows him going
Hello,
on the cover,
fellow
and
kids.
he's like, hey, what's up, fellow kids? And he's got like a tat on his skateboard.
And he's wearing the shirt that's like, music band. Like. Yeah, when he walked in wearing that beanie, I was like, what the fuck is he wearing? Like, I was honestly taken aback by his appearance.
I was more thrown off than him wearing the suit, and you know how I felt about
I do.
That suit.
We spent a good amount of time a couple episodes ago on his suit. Yeah, it was so odd because it wasn't how he dressed at all in the episode in in his time on the island.
All of his clothes caught on fire, and he had to go to the Lost and Found and pick some stuff out.
The survivor Lost and Found. He had to go to the local Gap and just buy some things that are 80% off. So they talk about how the game is very fluid, and Tasha mentions, yeah, the game's really fluid, but you still need 2 or 3 people you can absolutely trust. And then they go to vote after their conversation. Tasha votes for. She intended to vote for Sierra, but she spelled it Ciara, like the singer.
That's how I would spell it.
Yeah, fair. Kelly Wentworth goes up to vote and says there's only room for one Kelly on this island, which is the perfect thing to say when you are voting for the other Kelly. So Jeff goes and grabs the vote receptacle. What did we call it last week? Was it receptacle?
Yes. Yeah.
So we get a vote for Sierra, vote for Wentworth, vote for Wiggles. Okay, sure. It's expected. Sierra, Wentworth, Wiggles. And we're like, okay, it's gonna be a close one. Sierra again. It's like, oh shit, Sierra's gonna get voted out. I hope not. And then Wigglesworth. And everybody looks around like, what the fuck just happened? Like, that was unexpected. Everybody's really confused. Nobody knows who voted for anyone. And Sierra and Kelly and Abby are just so excited. It was great.
Sorry for the yeah, it was tense for like a minute during the voting, but then the Wigglesworth, which by the way, no one knows how to fucking spell her last name. I think, doesn't it only have one L? Or sorry, one G?
I think it has one G. Yeah, I saw this post on Tumblr.
Of course, Fishbach was the only one. Fishbach was the only one that spelled it that way.
There was a post on Tumblr. Somebody like screenshotted a moment from the show, from the last episode, where they're talking about Wigglesworth, and it has 2 G's, and they're like all upset at CBS for not spell checking. It's like, what? I was like looking at the caption. I was like, what are they supposed to spell check? That looks right. But
you fucked up, Survivor.
Like
crew.
if you heard Wigglesworth, wouldn't you spell it?
No, that's how I thought it would be spelled.
Yeah, like you would spell it Wiggle or Wigglesworth. Like those are 2 words that I'm familiar with in the English language. So why not spell it that way? My favorite thing with the vote, though, is that Spencer voted for... Did you notice this? Spencer voted for Kelly W.
Where? Because, no, there's an I on it because I was looking on the AV Club comments and somebody said that they paused it so they could look, because I saw Kelly W. and it wasn't within, like, my initial thought was like, did he vote for Kelly with an E? Because I thought that it was Kelly, like, Kelleyw, which I was like, in which case, like, oh, okay. And I was like, what are you doing, Spencer? But then, like, apparently it was Kelly W.I.
Okay. Yeah, it just looked like Kelly W. when I saw it. It was he was just, like, indecisive? That seems really out of character.
Yeah, like, they could be like, when the votes got all revealed, they could be like, oh, no, I meant the one that wins. That's what I meant. I meant the one which I get to choose.
Yeah, I think I've probably mentioned this to you before. I don't know if it was on this show or just when I tell you about the show when you're not watching it, and you're like, I don't care. That's happened in the past where they read a vote and it was like a nickname that they had used occasionally, like in camp, but had never used in tribal council or in a challenge or anything. So Jeff like reads off this vote and is like, who is this? And whose vote is this? And somebody like raised their hand and I was like, that was mine. That was Bob or whoever it was for. I'm like, okay, that's another vote for Bob. They probably will fix that, or have probably fixed that since. They're probably like, the producers will look at all the votes before they go up and they're like, hey, Spencer, come back here. Could you vote again? Because we don't know who this is.
Fix this, you idiot.
Who's Kelly W? That could be 2 people. Also odd that they cast
the
two people named Kelly W. on this season.
Well, 2 people named Kelly W., and it was the 2 people it was probably going to come down to for who is getting eliminated.
Yeah.
So, like, the least helpful thing you could have possibly done.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's the episode of Survivor. Next week, CBS decided, because it's the night before Thanksgiving, to air 2 episodes back-to-back, 2 brand new episodes back-to-back. So we're going to do 2 episodes of this show, release one on Sunday like we normally do, and the next one on Monday. Yeah, so that's the schedule for next week. And then I believe the following week is when we will start covering the challenge. You going to watch the challenge, Thomas?
Oh, you know it.
If you don't, I won't be surprised.
All right, we'll see.
We'll see.
It'll be a mystery.
Ooh, I like mysteries.
You'll have to tune in to find out.
There we go. Keep them coming. So, Did You Watch Survivor last night? I've been Jake.
I've been Thom.
All right. See you next week. Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Hags, have a great summer.
Hags, have a great summer. I love y'all.
I feel my life